Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everybody, and welcome to this new Nextatlas webinar. This is the first webinar of this year. We started in April in a conversation with Barilla that has shown a few examples of ways that how he's using Nextatlas in his marketing communication effort. We went on with another webinar dedicated to neo-luxury, and you find this and the previous webinars on our webpage. All the recordings are there. Today, we dedicate this new webinar to a topic that for us is very important, which is the topic of attention. And we believe it's a very crucial issue because in this we are so overwhelmed with communication and with a lot of messages that are surrounding and hitting us every day from all the direction that is becoming more and more difficult for brands to get in touch with people and targets and to reach their audience in a proper way. We do this in this conversation. I'm with Eric Giordano. I'm head of business development of Nextatlas, and together with me, Deborah Bai, head of insights. Good afternoon, Deborah.
Hello, everyone. I'm Deborah, head of insights. Very happy to be here.
And we are very, very happy to welcome also our beloved guest today, Carlo Colpo, Group Marketing Communication Director and Brand Director of Lavazza. Welcome, Carlo.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me.
What we will be doing today is having a look on a section of a dedicated section of a Nextatlas platform that is speaking about attention and seeing all the ways that attention can be described nowadays. Everything that you will see, this is a recap for the ones that already know Nextatlas, but there's also an information about what you will see in case you're at the first webinar that you're looking in together with us. We are a combination of data scientists and insight strategists, and in Nextatlas, what we do is combining quantitative and qualitative information to provide a reliable forecast. This is why we call ourselves foresight scientists. Everything that we do is based on an analysis that is ongoing and has started 10 years ago and is based on the observation of early adopters at global level. Our analysis in particular are based on the observation of more than 300,000 profiles at global level. These profiles can be found in sources such as X, previously Twitter, Instagram, Reddit, YouTube. And our goal, of course, is discovering on one side weak signals before they become mainstream trends, but on the other, and also to assess their already existing trend and more established phenomenon to see how they evolve into the future. Now, Deborah will guide us in this new section of the platform that is dedicated in particular to the topic of attention, and that really splits this topic into many different sub-trends. So thank you, Deborah, for guiding us through this new section.
Thank you, Eric. So let's start. Welcome to the landing page of our Nextatlas platform, where you can find a rich collection of cross-industry content. You can scroll down when seeking inspiration through blue sky thinking, or just browse the trends, insights, and facts that our insights team curates daily with the help of AI tools. Today, however, we'll be focusing on what we call the big picture. The big picture is a curated selection of topics that we believe are important across all industries. It's an easy way to find inspiration on broad subjects that can really capture the attention of any user on our platform. As you can see, there are various themes here, ranging from neo-luxury and aging to authenticity and mental health. Today, I'll be walking you through one in particular, the big picture on attention. The concept of attention is rapidly gaining traction across various industries, particularly among consumers. They're talking a lot about it. Attention intersects with numerous facets of modern life, including technology, business, education, and mental health. Every week, our big pictures are fed with content updates, highlighting the fact that these are topics that are constantly evolving and really being tracked by our AI tools. Now, these weekly updates, they also include innovation tracking across different markets. So here you can see that our platform also provides a selection of AI detected case studies that aim to provide further insights on the topic. Now, finally, you also see the evolution of the topics through time. Here, a graph that showcases the popularity of these topics on social media conversations. We do analyze data from the past few years, and then we provide a growth forecast for the next 12 months. Now, within the attention macro topic, we've identified 5 themes that focus on different aspects of attention. So the first one, cognitive rest, talks about how consumers are increasingly prioritizing cognitive tranquility, recognizing attention as a valuable resource that requires mindful preservation. The second one, self-attention, refers to a growing recognition that dedicating attention to oneself is really essential for personal well-being. We have distraction disruption. It's all about how consumers' attention is becoming harder to secure. And so advertising is really evolving from simple exposure to really creating deeply engaging, emotionally resonant content. And we have hyperfocus that talks about how consumers are recognizing an alternative to constant productivity. So they're rather focusing on short bursts of deep focus to maximize efficiency while self-guarding personal well-being. And finally, we have surprising twists, which is all about how you can balance simplicity with unexpected details, offering really refreshing contrasts that capture attention and evoke delight. For today, we'll be focusing on 3 of the largest themes, so cognitive rest, self-attention, and distraction disruption. Let's have a look at the first one. In today's hyper-stimulating digital landscape, the quest for cognitive relief is becoming more and more urgent for many consumers. Consumers are really they're increasingly realizing how all the digital clutter is not just annoying, it's actively really contributing to cognitive stress. So this realization is sparking a significant shift in how we view and manage our attention. It's no longer seen as just another resource to be exploited, but rather a precious commodity that requires care and protection. Now, increasingly, people are embracing strategies to safeguard their mental space. So especially Gen Zers, that this is a very popular topic among young consumers, we're actually learning to prioritize mental downtime, setting clear boundaries with technology, like turning off notifications or even just limiting screen time. Now, discussions about cognitive tranquility often highlight issues like overstimulation, mental load, and elevated cortisol levels. But we also see conversations about solutions such as dumb phones, Sunday resets, limiting screen time, and ambient music. Now, looking to the future, the trend toward cognitive wellness is poised to accelerate, as you can see from its timeline. We're moving toward a deeper cultural shift that values and preserves our cognitive health. This movement really recognizes the profound impact of our digital habits, and it's set to shape new consumer expectations in areas like entertainment and technology. Now we can slowly move to the second topic. Going back to our landing page for the picture, we go and see self-attention. There's an increasing emphasis on self-attention and personal prioritization, championing the belief that caring for oneself is not really selfish, but it is essential. In the evolving landscape of self-focus, there are new interests and consumption behaviors centered on the self that are emerging. They're really reshaping how individuals they engage with the world and prioritize their personal well-being. So, for example, you see eat alone, solo dining, and solo dates as emerging concepts attacks, and they really highlight a cultural transformation where self-company is celebrated, and the stigma around doing activities alone alone is not, it's not really diminishing. So in fact, individuals are increasingly seeking experiences that allow them to enjoy their own company, turning moments of solitude into opportunities for self-reflection and personal indulgence. Now, consumers, especially Gen Zers and millennials, no longer view putting yourself first as indulgent, but really it's essential for their survival and thriving in an increasingly demanding world. This shift is reshaping their expectations in both personal and professional relationships. So particularly regarding moments of rest, sleep and breaks have emerged as central occasions for this topic, highlighting the significant value placed on recharging. Now, for brands, this focus on self-attention and personal prioritization really signals a fundamental shift in how they must engage with consumers. As you can see from the timeline, this is a growing trend that is set to consolidate in the near future. So a very positive timeline for the next 12 months. As individuals increasingly prioritize their own well-being, personal growth, and boundaries, brands, they really need to not just sell products, but they need to enter in a relationship, a healthy relationship with their consumers, where there's respect for their personal values and time. Now we can slowly move to our last and final deep dive, the one that is called distraction disruption. In today's media-saturated environment, capturing and maintaining consumer attention is a growing challenge for advertisers. It really demands creativity, innovation, and a profound understanding of consumer preferences and behaviors. As securing consumers' attention becomes increasingly difficult, the fundamentals of advertising are really evolving. But as you can see from the widget here, it's not just about advertising and branding. It's a phenomenon that is having impact across different industries: art and design, home and interiors, retail, and media and entertainment as well. So what it's telling us is that communication strategies are really advancing, integrating insights into how our brains process information and react to stimuli. These approaches aim not just to attract attention, but to captivate it and hold it, delving into the deeper layers of human cognition and emotion. So for instance, dopamine decor that you see among the tags, it's about how we can provoke stronger response from consumers through appealing and gratifying design. In a similar vein, scent experiences, they really enhance consumer touch points and can potentially strengthen brand identity by forging emotional connections through senses. So different innovative engagement approaches are already paving the way for a future in advertising where attention is not just captured, but respected and enhanced. Now, as we have discussed today, I have briefly delved into 3 of the 5 key themes, but it's really important to remember that attention also includes other crucial aspects that influence how we engage in the world around us. So by understanding these broader dimensions, we can more effectively navigate the complexities of our fast-paced modern lives. I guess that was it for me.
Thank you very much, Deborah,
yeah.
for this quick tour into our section dedicated to attention, and this gives us a lot of food for thought. And before starting the deep dive into this topic with Carlo. Carlo, we'll start with a question, because a few months ago in October we were in Lavazza. There was an event, and you were saying that for you attention would have been the topic to look at for 2024. So my first question for you, Carlo, is what made you feel that this was the topic to be observed?
Oh, wow. I mean, I think that what we just saw is basically it. So people are, the world, let me say, more than people, and the world and the environment of media, but in general, all the inputs that people are receiving, it's reaching a level that is no longer sustainable. So I think that before, all of us, I put myself I mean, in this group of people and other advertisers and marketers, we thought that the more, I mean, the space was a huge infinite space that was there to be, I mean, invaded by all our contents, but forgetting that at a certain point there is a boundary that is the capability of people or really digest all these kind of things, of inputs that we were giving to them. So attention has always been the keyword for advertisers, but in this situation, in this environment, it is key, because there's no another way to really give them your messages, if not to get their attention, because they are less passive than they were in the past. So they are actually switching from a touch point to another, and really interacting and choosing what they want to see. So we are in a totally different world, and I think that recently we understood, all of us, that we probably need to step back for this kind of enthusiasm and euphoria about the content productions, and sending, I mean, into the space, into the different touch points, into the digital world and social, all these inputs and and messages for people. It's better to, I don't want to say step back, as other brands are doing, like leaving some platforms in order to set them apart from this. So this is a bit extreme. I mean, I like it. I like it in principle. I like, as a professional, to understand what will be then the journey of these brands. For Lavazza, I think that this would be too much, too stronger and harder position to take. But still, I think that we need to step back and carefully think about what we are sending out, carefully pick the right messages, and avoid all this I mean, tsunami of videos and contents in general.
Yeah, I totally agree. But yeah, if we think about what Deborah was showing us, we can divide basically the strategies of the company in a couple of directions. So there are the companies that are really occupying all this space all the time, this communication space of speaking, so that their voice can be heard somehow. A bit careless of what are also the effects sometimes on the audience. On the other end, there are approaches that are more focused, so that are more taking into consideration what are also the unhealthy way of reaching the targets. So we have already understood that their position goes more towards in this second direction, but is it I sometimes believe that it seems impossible for companies not to do also a part of the first point, so the first direction, which is the one of occupying the space. So is it really impossible for companies to step back in the way that you are suggesting?
Yeah, I mean, we are mixing a bit the different approaches that as you are suggesting. I mean, we are not really, I mean, I think that based on what we just saw from Deborah, we are actually using, in some cases, the approach of being a little bit disruptive and try to intercept this attention from the audience with kind of surprising effects, twisting a little bit the obvious, and try to get their attention because they are looking at something interesting and something that is a little bit different. And in this way, we are trying to, I mean, still to go with a certain number of stimuli and contents, looking for more the how we do the wow effect in order to grab their attention, and mixing the approach with something that is more on the other end. So it's about more storytelling and longer format. And in that case, I think that the ingredient that should be there is the cultural relevance, because then the attention can be higher if you are entering into the conversation that is relevant for people. That is kind of obvious, but sometimes is out of the strategy of many brands, no? Because then you go straight in your product benefits and what is the thing that you want to say because the product is made this way, or in that phase of your brand, you are at that step of that journey and you want to say that message. While we, as marketers, I mean, I think I'm saying something that can be shared by others, and that we are in the routine of our job, and we forget that everything has to be thought to be in the culture, because it's the only way to really emerge from the noise that is like there and is growing. So now shouting is not enough, because I mean the noise has reached a level that is really too high, and it's not possible to get. I mean, you can, as you said before, I think that there's also a component that is linked with media investment. So you can, with media, with a certain kind of content, do also break the noise with additional noise, let me say, or you have to enter into the discussion of people. So you have to be interesting for people, for what you are saying, be in sync with what you want. What people are discussing, debating in their daily life. What we have recently done, it is, I think, an example of this. Deborah was mentioning, it's slightly different, but I think it has a connection. She was mentioning this desire of people of a little bit, cooling down and start of thinking about how to get moments for themselves. Coffee, it's something to be shared. I'm not here to say that coffee is a personal pleasure, but it is more for sharing. But definitely with our last campaign and last brand message, we are trying to say that as Italians, let me open it up a little bit. As Italians, we can be the ambassadors of a lifestyle that is more indulgent towards the everyday pleasures that we are enjoying culturally, let me say, as Italians in life. Now, the dolce vita, that is, a very stereotypical kind of sentence to say Italian lifestyle in the end. It's all about this. It's all about enjoying moments of pleasure during the day that are simple. It can be a coffee. It can be, walking in a street surrounded by the beauty of our cities. For Italians, I think a chair is not just an object made and designed to sit. To help people to stay comfortable is also the beauty of it. It is created for being beautiful, for adding a layer of pleasure on top, and to enjoy the simple act of sitting down or driving a car is not just because you have to be fast or efficient or technologically, in a very technological environment, is also the pleasure of doing that, the pleasure of the object, the pleasure of the experience. So we are trying to inject this idea that does not belong to Italians just because we are from Italy. This is more a cultural thing. We are giving this badge, the Italian badge, but this belongs to everybody, to every culture in the world. I think it's a very open message for everybody. It's not that as Italians we are special. It's just a way of designing our lifestyle. So coffee can be a moment of pleasure. So a little indulgent treat that you can have during your day to step back from what is around you and really pay attention to your feelings and enjoy every moment of pleasure. I think that also COVID has brought this, and with all this uncertainty that surrounds us, I think that people are in the need of give to celebrate, I would say, even small and very ordinary moments in order to feel comfortable and feel happy in the end.
Yeah, I believe this is quite coherent with a lot of signals that are emerging in Nextatlas in the last year. A few months ago, in our 2024 report that we presented in November, we were speaking about little threat culture. So this idea of having little threats. So really looking at small and simple things that can uplift our everyday life and bring an improvement and a good quality of life, but without, I would say, very big and special and shouted also things and messages. So yeah, it's quite coherent with that. And also I believe that your position from what you were saying is quite coherent, because if a brand is positioning not in a functional way, so not with the idea of the boost as maybe other in your field are doing, it's normal that then as a consequence you get to this conclusion that probably shouting is not the good strategy, but more focusing on providing good moments to people also in terms of communication. And just as a final question, how do you believe your role and in general the world of marketing communication will evolve in the next years? Because of course, I mean, messages are not going to decrease and stimuli are not going to decrease. So it's going to be even harder. So how do you believe it will evolve in general, the landscape?
I was partially answering, saying that probably we need to be more in the culture, even more looking ahead in the coming years. So be more in the conversation, try to be topical, which is not jump on every trend, jump on every wave, to be, I mean, the brand that is able to feel contemporary and be contemporary, and this is just about, this is not at all about trendiness and jump from a wave to another, let me say, like using a surfer metaphor. This is more about understanding the sentiment, I would say, of the world. What is the conversation that is suitable for your brand, and try to jump on this conversation with an humble, I would say, approach, but still delivering a message that is relevant and can be interesting. And in the recent years, and I would say even more recently, I was surprised by the results in terms of engagement that we got with some contents that were absolutely counterintuitive compared to, I mean, other snacky things, no? Like 45 minutes format of Basement Cafe in Italy, dedicated to the urban culture. And this is our format that we created from scratch. So we were the producer, let me say, of this content. And we were, I mean, like, wow, surprised about a more than 12 minutes average viewer, meaning that the content can be in the average viewed 12 minutes by people. I mean, it's a 40, and the completion rate was about like 25 something %. So 45 minutes contents, it's incredible. And this is just about being relevant. Even our last commercial that we launched in, and this is, I mean, not new for the industry, but we launched in a 90-second format. And again, the completion rate of this 90-second format was incredibly high. I mean, we placed two amazing stars like Steve Carell and John Krasinski in this campaign at the very end of the commercial, like in the last 3 seconds. So to really reverse the rule of, you know, you put the ambassador, you put the relevant guy, and then you will get the attention because, oh, wow, this is a content. We played the game on the contrary, and we are actually having results because the story itself and the character, now our little robot Luigi, is, I mean, somehow touching relevant elements, topical elements of the conversations that are on today, like AI, the role of robotics versus human, introducing a cute character that reminds us to Hollywood, big blockbusters, movies, and storytelling that belongs to everybody. I mean, this is more rules that and again, we were surprised by the results that are actually people being engaged with that, and then the talents, the two big Hollywood stars at the end are just the cherry on the cake and not the element that takes you in the story and takes you there and grab your attention, vice versa. The attention is the story because the messages are culturally relevant, and then the celeb is the cherry on the cake, is the spark that arrives later on in the content. Yeah. So this is again experiments. I think that we don't have rules that are written in stone. We are just, I mean, trying and trial and error.
Even if there are no rules, I really agree with this approach of taking the trends, not to jump from one to another, but to understand cultural relevance and cultural feelings, and to understand how a brand can be positioned in this arena and not just being perceived as something that is totally outside of the conversation. Thank you very much, Carlo, for this conversation. We could go on for hours actually, but the time is running short. I've seen that there are already a couple of questions, so I believe we can also answer to this question. I see that other ones are right in our Q&A form, so we can take still a couple of minutes. Sure. Let me take the first one is from Christina. How did you identify the sub-trends in the platform that you presented before? Okay, so I can answer to this one. So, it's a system that in our backend is suggesting subclusters when you start from a topic. So every time that we decided to do an in-depth analysis, for example, this one of attention, but as the previous ones that we have presented in other webinars dedicated to neo-luxury or to aging and so on. Every time that we select a topic, we have a system that is suggesting what are the clusters of conversation around that topic, and then there's a work that is a qualitative work on top to decide what are the ones that are most relevant and that can be turned into sub-trends, such as the one that you have seen in the screencasting from Deborah, with all the statistics that are updated on a weekly level. Other questions I see from Sylvia. What do you think about producing highly controversial commercials as a strategy? This is more maybe for Carlo. So what is your opinion on? So I believe that this question is more controversial, not only impactful, not only. So what is your point of view on that?
It really depends from the from the DNA of your brand. I can mention a couple of brands that I love. One is Diesel in the world of fashion, so Renzo Rosso's creation. And Diesel is about being controversial. It's about provoking. It's about, I mean, more a rebel kind of approach. So I think that for these brands, it's a good way to provoke the audience with something that is controversial, because this is in the DNA. If we do, I mean, in general, brands controversial messages just because they are, I mean, more gaining more attention by medias, and then of course by people. In the end, I think that in the short term, we get the results of more views, more engagement, etc. Maybe we can question about the sentiment of this engagement, but in general, you will get your numbers. Then the problem in a medium longer term is, what about your brand? So what is the story that you want to tell about your brand? If you have a brand like Lavazza or a brand like I don't know, Barilla, or that are more like family brands, also because there's a family that owns the company, but also family because they want to be more approachable, more linked to, I mean, like or a generic public, and the positioning of the brand is not linked to this kind of ways of communicate. So at that point, I think that is just an attempt, is just I would say is wrong. I would say is wrong.
We can, let's say, to recap, if I can sum up a bit your thoughts before you were speaking about cultural relevance, but is also coherence with the brand positioning. So these are
of course
the
first
two.
In how you pick what is the topic that you pick that is culturally relevant. Maybe not all the topics that are out there in the conversations are right for your brand. And the second is how you play in the game of this conversation. Are you jump into the conversation to say what? And this is more the how. So both the what and the how are important, and the brand is key in because the brand is in the end is the DNA, is a person. So me as a person, should I jump into a conversation to say something or not? And if I do, because it's my topic, because it's something that touches me, then it's how I say my opinion. And so if I'm a certain person, I won't play the game, I mean, the same way of another. A rock star and the Pope can say the kind of the same message, but in a two completely different ways, respecting their own DNA.
Yeah.
And let me add this as well. Sometimes also Lavazza has taken position to, I mean, for example, during the COVID period, with some messages about, I mean, the campaign that we did with the Charlie Chaplin speech, Good Morning Humanity, or some campaigns that we did in Italy, like talking about it was called the Italia che vorrei, so the new Italy with more culturally open to other cultures, to people that are second generation immigrants. So a lot of these things can be, I mean, I don't want to say disruptive, but for a brand like Lavazza, it's a position that you are taking towards a certain conversation. So it's not that you have to say nothing, because the nothing belongs to everybody. So I think that in today's world, you have to take to say and to tell people what is your opinion about relevant topics. And at that point, it's not really about being I mean, like looking for messages that are splitting the audience. Is more that you are saying what you think. And and again, if it's true to the brand, then it's right by definition. Then people can have their own opinion and comment on social and create a conversation around that. But that is what you are.
Yeah, of course. Thank you very much, Carlo, again, for this wonderful conversation, and thanks, Deborah, also for the presentation that you made. I remember everybody that you can see this recording on our website, and of course, for those who haven't tried still our platform, there's the possibility of requesting a free platform demo. Thanks again to everybody and all the participants to this webinar, and see you next time. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you.